Today on the island of Sodor, Edward talks to Trevor. Next, Percy makes a good luck package. But first, Douglas is sent to the far side of the island. One day, Edward was talking to Trevor when Douglas steamed by. He was pulling a train of heavy coal cars. "Come on, Edward. Stop gossiping in the sun when there's work to be done." Later, Edward spoke to Douglas. "Trevor and I are old friends, and you two have a lot in common, too." "We do," quizzed Douglas. "And what would that be?" "Scrap," said Edward. Douglas gasped. "Don't mention that word to me. It makes my wheels wobble." "It does the same to Trevor," replied Edward. "He was being sent to the scrapyard, but a vicar and I saved him, and now he's really useful again. Even so, Sir Topham Hatt certainly does need another steam engine here." "Aye, he does, and quickly." That night, Douglas was still working. He had taken the midnight goods train to the faraway side of the island, where only the diesels worked. He was just shunting, ready for his return journey, when... "That sounded like a steam engine," he thought. The hiss came again. "Who's there?" asked Douglas. A whisper came. "Are you Sir Topham Hatt's engine?" "Aye, and proud of it." "Well, I'm Oliver, and I'm with my brake van towed. We've run out of coal and have no more steam." "But what you doing there?" "Escaping." "From what?" "Scrap." Douglas shivered. Then he remembered Edward's story about Trevor. "I'll be glad to help ye. It'll have to look, though, if you're ready for scrap, and I'm taking you away." Their drivers and firemen agreed to help, too. Everyone worked fast. "No time to turn around. I'll run tender first. Come on." But before they can clear the station, they were stopped. "Aha," called the foreman. "A Great Western engine, and a brake van, too. You can't take these." "Aye, but they're all for us," said Douglas's driver. "See for yourself." The foreman looked all over Oliver. All right. It seems in order. Right away, guard." "That was a near thing." "We've had worse," replied Oliver, and they forged ahead. It was daylight when their journey ended. "We're home!" cried Douglas. "Shh!" said his driver. "There are the works. We'll find a place for Oliver there." Oliver said goodbye and thank you, and Douglas puffed away. The next day, Douglas told the other engines all about Oliver. "Sir Topham Hatt would need to know," said James. "Douglas should tell him at once," added Gordon. "Well, here he is," said a voice. "Now, what's this all about?" "I beg your pardon, sir, but we do need another engine here." "Yes, sir," added Gordon. "A steam engine, sir." "Well, unless one is saved from scrap, there's little hope." "But, sir, one has." "Yes, indeed, and thanks to you, Douglas, he's now at our works. Oliver is just what we need for Duck's branch line." Everyone cheered. Now, Oliver and Toad are mended and painted in full Great Western colors. Duck and Oliver are happy on their branch line. The others laughed at first and called it the Little Western. Duck and Oliver were delighted, and so the Little Western it will always be. He's a really useful engine, you know. All the other engines, they'll tell you so. He huffs and puffs and whistles, rushing to and fro. He's the really useful engine we adore. He's the one, he's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one. He's the number one, Thomas the Tank Engine. He's a really useful engine, you know, because the Fat Controller, he told him so. Now he's got a branch line to call his very own. He's the really useful engine we adore. He's the one, he's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one, he's the number one, Thomas the Tank Engine. Little blue train, he's always there whenever you need a hand. If you need help with a situation, who comes into mind? He's the one, he's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one, he's the number one, Thomas the Tank Engine. He's a really useful engine, you know. Maybe little, but he's never slow. Stand back in amazement, just you watch him go. He's the really useful engine we adore. He's the one, he's the one. He's the really useful engine that we adore. He's the one, he's the number one, Thomas the Tank Engine. He's the really useful engine we adore. The engines on the island of Sodor love holiday time. Percy was taking some cars to the docks. Terrence the tractor was working in a field close to the line. Hello, Percy. Nice day for it, isn't it? Percy was confused. Nice day for what? Mrs. Kindly's daughter's getting married today. Oh, yes, of course, said Percy. But when Percy saw Mrs. Kindly, she was standing by her gate waving a red flag. What's the matter? Asked the driver. I've forgotten about the good luck package for the bride. Percy was puzzled. What's a good luck package? It, must contain something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Can you please help? Percy didn't know how, but his driver was determined. We'll certainly try, he said confidently. Percy had to stop at Edward's station to take on some water. We've got to find a good luck package. Do you know what that is? Asked Percy. Oh, yes, indeed. Something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue, Percy cut in. But where do we find them? Edward smiled. They're probably staring you right in your smoke box. Now, I have to fetch my special train. I'm taking guests to the wedding. Wait, can't you be the something? Never mind. When Percy arrived at the docks, he looked all around him. Suddenly, he saw a truck. It was loaded with a new set of shiny buffers. Look, there's something new. You're quite right, Percy, said his driver. Those buffers are just the ticket. I'll speak to the foreman. He returned shortly. Foreman says we can use them, and borrow the truck as well. So that's two things we found, something borrowed and something new. But what about the other things? I'm sure we'll find them too. Now, we'd best be on our way. Soon, they reached Tidmouth Halt. As Percy was shunting the freight cars into the siding, he heard a voice. "Hello, Percy." There was old Slowcoach, who he and Thomas had saved from scrap. "You're it!" squeaked Percy. "I'm what it?" said the coach. "The something old for the wedding." And then Percy explained. "Now, we only have to find something blue. But what and where?" "You'll see," said his driver. Percy's unusual train was on his way. At last, they reached the village where the wedding was to take place. Ahead was an old engine shed. "What do you think of this, Percy?" laughed his driver. "Well, bust my boiler. Thomas, what are you doing here?" "I'm the something blue," replied Thomas. "Oh, before I forget, Percy," said his driver, "Mrs. Kindly has chosen you to be her special guest." When the bride and groom left the church for the party, Sir Topham Hatt addressed everybody. "Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the good luck package. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. All found by Percy and his crew." The engines whistled, and everybody cheered. "Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Percy," said the bride. "It's the best good luck package ever." And she kissed Percy. Thomas laughed as Percy blushed bright red. "Oh, I love weddings," sighed Percy that night. "Did you enjoy your kiss?" replied Thomas. But Percy was embarrassed and pretended to be asleep.